Saucony makes one of my favorite eco foams on the market right now. But how does it hold up over real world use? It's time to talk about the Triumph Run for Good after 100 miles. Yo, what's going on? My name is Kofuzi and I'm a non-elite runner who reviews running shoes here on YouTube. And today, I'm gonna talk to you guys about the Triumph Run for Good, or RFG, after 100 miles. But before I give you my thoughts on this shoe and how it's held up, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that Saucony has sent to me for the purpose of a review, so I didn't have to pay for these shoes. However, no one's paying me to make this video or to include their shoe in this video, and no one's gonna get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about the Triumph RFG. And for my long-term update reviews, I'd like to break it down in a couple of ways. I'll talk about how I've been using the shoe in case that's changed over time, and it kind of has for this one. And I'm going to talk about just the wear and tear and how the shoe is physically holding up. Then I'll get into some updated pairing options and recommendations in terms of the buying guide and some alternatives that you might also want to look at. First, let's get into how I've been using the shoe. Now, for me, the Triumph series has always been kind of squarely in the max cushion category. But the way that I've been using the Triumph RFG is as more of just a fun but cushioned daily trainer. And I don't really think there's anything unique about the RFG or the eco side of this shoe that has anything to do with it. I think it's more a commentary on the way stack heights are changing the way that we're choosing to run in our daily trainers these days. And now a shoe like the Triumph, which used to be very much a max cushion shoe, for me, feels very much like a daily trainer. And I'm not saying that the Triumph can't be used as a low and slow, easy run shoe. It's still very comfortable for that, but this foam has a nice pop to it that makes it pretty fun as well. Now, the PWRRUNbio Plus Eco Foam is 55% corn-based, and it's very similar to the PWRRUN Plus that's used in the regular Triumph series. I say this is a little bit less squishy and a little bit more springy. So in other words, it just feels like a little bit more firm of a shoe, but overall it's still giving me a lot of that same Triumph feeling. I also think that it's probably one of my favorite treadmill shoes. Now, you certainly don't need a shoe with this much stack height and cushion to be able to run comfortably and enjoy time on the treadmill, but when I have found myself using the treadmill a lot this winter, the Triumph RFG was a shoe that I reached for quite frequently. Now let's talk a little bit more specifically about the wear and tear on the shoe. And as far as the PWRRUNbio Plus foam goes, even though it's 55% corn-based, I'm finding that it's holding up quite similarly to the way that I've experienced PWRRUN Plus, the non-eco foam, hold up over the years. And in other words, what it means is the shoe is doing a fantastic job at being very durable and usable over a long period of time. The shoe feels very fresh to me. It feels like it's pretty much straight out of the box, and I'm still enjoying it as much today as I did the first day that I got it. I feel like you're going to get a lot of longevity out of the midsole foam that's here. Turning to the outsole, that's where I'm seeing a little bit of a difference in what I typically see in Saucony outsole rubbers. Now, this shoe has 80% natural rubbers rather than the 100% synthetic, which I believe is what comprises the other outsoles that are on Saucony Triumph shoes. But while I am seeing a slight amount of additional wear than what I might normally see on a 100-mile Saucony shoe, I feel like the shoe is still going to hold up really well and provide a high level of durability and longevity over the course of the life of the midsole of the shoe. And then the same pattern holds through as we move to the upper. I feel like it also looks very fresh and it doesn't show any signs of additional wear. The eco aspect of the upper here is that they're using cotton as the predominant material and plant-based dyes, and I'm not seeing a significant or even noticeable difference in terms of the performance. I think on the scale, it might be a little bit heavier than the synthetic materials used in the regular Triumph, but it's a trade-off that I don't really notice for a shoe that I'm using for easy days where I'm looking to primarily just really enjoy my run, and it's not a top-tier pinnacle performance type of product. So that little bit of extra weight there is something that I've hardly even noticed. All right, now let's move on to some pairing options for this shoe in case you want to include this into a running shoe rotation. If you're using this as your daily trainer and sometimes recovery run shoe, I think two shoes that you might need are something that you can use for some light workouts when you want to pick up the pace in a harder session, and something that you can race with or use for those biggest, toughest workouts that you might have on your training plan. And so for the speed day, tempo session type of shoe, I'm going to point you to the Topo Cyclone 2. Now this is a midsole that looks very similar to a midsole that we have in the Triumph RFG. Both of these are beaded foams, but what the Topo Cyclone does is it's using a beaded PWRRUN foam, which is a race caliber material, and they're doing it in a way that's very neutral, very lightweight, and low to the ground, but still providing really fun cushion that you could use for some speedy workouts. Now, the next shoe that I would recommend to pair with the Triumph RFG for your races is going to be also from Saucony, and that's the Endorphin Pro 3. We're again in that weird time of year where the racing shoes are starting to get updated. So the Endorphin Pro 4 is coming out soon. I haven't had a chance to test that one out yet. So in the meantime, I'm going to continue recommending this shoe that I've been recommending a bunch of times all last year because it is a fun, lightweight shoe that's comfortable to wear as far as the upper goes, but it's also really approachable for a wide range of runners. Plus it's also got a carbon fiber plate and a race caliber foam, another beaded foam. So it's going to look similar and feel similar, but it's just going to be lighter, faster, and snappier than the Triumph RFG. Perfect for you to take out for that half marathon or marathon race. Now let's talk about the buying guide for this shoe. It's been out for a little while now, and I was hoping that by this point it would be on sale, but to me it looks like it's still selling for the full retail price of $160. It's kind of high when you're thinking about it as a daily trainer. $160 is kind of more normal for the max cushion range. So if we're thinking of it as like a very cushioned daily trainer, maybe that $160 price is a good one. Let's see where the rest of the competition in the market stacks up. The shoe that jumps out to me the most, because it is not only serving a similar use case, but also has eco features, is going to be the ASICS Nimbus 26. This is using FF Blast Plus Eco, which is, I believe it's 24% bio-based materials that are in the midsole here. These are shoes that have previously, in my mind, been squarely in the max cushion category, but now are kind of creeping into more of that daily trainer space because these foams now are a little bit springier and a little bit more willing to pick up the pace. The ASICS Nimbus 26 retails at $160. That shoe has only just recently come out, so I'm not anticipating that a lot of you guys are going to be able to find it on sale yet. The next shoe that I think you should also consider if you're looking at the Triumph or the Triumph RFG, this one's not eco, but it is a similar use case type of shoe, and this is the On Cloud Eclipse. Now, this is a shoe that I would consider to be in the max cushion category, but the reason why I think it stacks up well against the Triumph RFG is because this is a shoe that moves really well. If you do want to pick up the pace a little bit, even though there's a lot of shoe here, it carries the weight well, so to speak, and it's very eager to go a little bit faster than those low and slow easy days. You could take it up for strides in your run for sure, and anything up to a light fartlek or some moderate pace efforts. I feel like the On Cloud Eclipse is going to give you a very cushioned but very exciting and fun experience. So that's another shoe to look at. That shoe comes in at $180, so quite a bit more expensive than the Triumph or the Nimbus, but all three of those shoes have been giving me a lot of fun miles, and so I've been enjoying all three of them. To wrap up, I'll say that I'm very excited with the progress that Saucony is making with their PWRRUNbio Plus foam. I'm hoping to see them continue to develop and iterate on this foam so they could get closer and closer to what we would see in the PWRRUN Plus type of foams. So that way their eco way doesn't become this kind of side project, but rather just becomes wrapped into their main inline materials. Because as runners, we are going through a lot of shoes, and anything we can do to help reduce the environmental impact, I think, is something worth taking a look at. So those are my thoughts on the Triumph RFG after 100 miles. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, or better yet, stop by the live stream that I do Monday through Friday over on the Kofuzi Run Club channel. I'd love to talk to you guys there in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?